What if I told you that Andrade could be headed back to WWE? Yes, that might be in the cards, that is being reported, and it is something that I don't think wrestling fans should think is impossible. Yes, Andrade, of course, has been the center of the pro wrestling universe as of late. He is a guy who was fired by WWE only to be rehired by AEW and then told that he had a 1-year non-compete, in which case it is now being reported by PW Insider that Andrade is rumored to at least be desired back in WWE, that people within WWE are thinking about ways to potentially bringing him back, which would be an insane thing. Because remember, this is a guy that in the beginning of October of this year, at the 6th anniversary edition of AEW Dynamite, made his return to All Elite Wrestling in a shocking way and then was never seen again. And now Andrade is posting a lot of these weird cryptic messages. We also have cryptic messages from WWE about a potential return, or at least teasing someone's return, and people have speculated that it might be Andrade. Others have said it might be the likes of Brock Lesnar, Santos Escobar, or someone else maybe. But the point is, Andrade, I think, has never been as desired and as popular, quite frankly, as he is right now. The question on a lot of people's minds is, what is the conclusion of this Andrade saga going to look like? What can, won't, and will happen? And the truth is, we don't know until we know. And I know that that's a bit of a cop-out, but you have a few different ways this could go. The return of Andrade to WWE would be mind-blowing considering where we are, and I wouldn't put it past WWE to try to bring him back, but you also have to remember one crucial detail. Andrade was not released. He was not a subject of budget cuts. He was fired outright. So in any world where WWE are considering bringing him back, I think it wouldn't happen as quickly as people are trying to speculate that it would. I think that Andrade's ability to come back to WWE is potentially tied to whatever reason he was fired for. Some have speculated it's a wellness violation. Others have speculated attitude. At the end of the day, there's no confirmed rhyme or reason for that. So I don't think a month later, WWE is going to be clamoring at the idea of bringing Andrade back to TV when, again, they literally just fired him with cause. So I wouldn't put that much stock into that idea. The idea that I would put stock into, however, is this theory that Andrade will likely come to some sort of settlement with WWE. A lot of people are expecting Andrade to somehow go to court, fight this legally with WWE, the 1-year-long non-compete that you could almost very easily argue would never really hold up in any serious court. But at the same time, you have to take into account that Andrade would probably be paying out of pocket for his legal expenses. Andrade would probably be paying out of pocket for all of the things that are associated with it. AEW is not going to be touching that anytime soon, because I can promise you this, AEW at this point, despite having Tony Khan and his billions upon billions of dollars, they do not have the resources or the capacity as a company to be fighting WWE directly. And in fact, I would argue it's probably what WWE wants. They probably want a prolonged legal battle with AEW to try to distract them from putting on good shows, to try to distract them from putting on these insane cards and try to distract them from other talent. And it comes back to this idea that I don't think that Andrade is the talent that AEW would do that for, quite frankly. And that's no knock on Andrade. It is just the fact that there is a pecking order to this. And the idea that AEW would give these resources and that Tony Khan would directly be involved in this is just laughable in my view. So you have the fact that Andrade legally is probably not going to fight this. I think at the end of the day, we are going to come to some kind of conclusion with this, wherein Andrade probably gets a 6-month non-compete or something a little bit more reasonable, despite the fact that a non-compete for someone who is fired with cause is kind of crazy. But the point is, I think that Andrade will probably come to some sort of resolution. I don't believe that his future right now is with WWE. Now, could that change? Could we see Andrade in the Royal Rumble in a couple of years? Absolutely. Professional wrestling is the one true place where anything could happen, and you never say never. Because look at the landscape we are in today. Adam Copeland is in AEW. John Cena is about to retire. CM Punk came back to wrestling, fell out with AEW, and then returned to WWE, a place that he cursed just 2 years prior. We are in a very weird time and a very exciting time in pro wrestling. So I would not rule out Andrade coming back to WWE, but I think in this moment, his future still lies in AEW. Now, the big question is, what is his current status? Is Andrade currently signed with AEW? Is Andrade under contract? Is he permitted to do things for AEW, potentially behind the scenes? We don't know. And the reality is we won't know for a while. Tony Khan has been very tight-lipped about it. During the Wrestle Dream Media Week, he refused to really answer a lot of the detailed questions that people had about Andrade. He just kind of gave his go-to answer about Andrade as a person, having worked with him in the past. And despite the fact that Tony had some very complimentary and has always had some very complimentary things to say about Andrade, I wouldn't expect to hear from AEW or Tony Khan about Andrade's status, considering that it's been reported that WWE sent a cease and desist to both the company and Andrade, considering that, again, I don't think that AEW right now over this specific case wants to go to war directly in the courts with AEW. I just think that that is just too much for them to take on in this situation. Of course, all of that could be conjecture, and all of that could be just me thinking a little too rationally. As we know, wrestling is anything but a rational business many times. So Andrade could, in fact, be headed back to WWE for all I know. Who knows? Anyway, in the end, I guess we'll see.